All right, I need you guys to help settle a domestic dispute before it turns ugly. So here's the situation. Over the last year, we've been like purging and rebalancing our fleet. We got rid of a bunch of cars, a bunch of motorcycles, a couple of trucks, and we've replaced them with other things. So right now, currently, in daily driver status, daily driver mode, we've got 4 running, driving, roadworthy XJs. We've got 4 running, riding, roadworthy motorcycles, and other stuff too. Charger. So we're trying to get rid of the things that either we're never going to get to or are redundant to the current fleet. And it looks like the very last thing that we're going to get rid of this go around is this swinger. Now you remember this from our Project Perfect Daily Driver from about 4 years ago, where we went through this car. Now I've told the story on this car a bunch of times before, but I'm going to do it one more time just for people who are new to this. Originally, we built this car, Kathy and I built this car, Uncle Kathy Bananas, as she's on the street. Originally, we built this car 10, 11 years ago in the backyard. Now, at the time, I was in the Mopar parts business. So, that's not shooting, nobody's shooting at us, they're doing roofing over there. So, don't see Kathy shaking her head. No, don't say that. No, look, show them up on the roof. See? Okay, it's enough. So I was in the Mopar parts business, and I had stacks, piles, mountains of parts. I still have stuff like in the attic and in the shed, and so at any rate, I had all of these parts, and when you're in the parts business, when you're dealing in used parts, there's always parts that are not nice enough to sell. So in other words, there's something wrong with them. They're twisted, they're a little dented, they're a little, but they're too nice to throw away because they're still functional. Well, that's what this car is. Somewhere along the line, I bought a load of 3 darts, 370 through 72 darts, and in that load came this rolling unibody. So it was stripped. It had no glass in it, had no interior, it had no doors, it had no fenders, bumpers, or anything like that. It was just a roller. But it had solid floors, solid frame rails. It was, for all intents and purposes, a car that could be put back together again very easily, using all of these leftover parts. So over the course of like a year or so, every time I would come across something that was not nice enough to sell and too nice to throw away, I made a pile out of it, and it became this car. So we used it every day for 5 years or thereabouts. And then I decided to refresh it, and that's when we did the Perfect Daily Driver series. So we did the engine, redid the body and the paint on it, and that's the last time we really touched this car. Now it's been in use. Put about approximately 30,000 miles on it over the last 4 years since we did it. But I haven't done anything with this car. It goes to the store and it comes back and sits in the driveway. It goes to the dog thing and then it comes back and sits in the driveway. It doesn't get used. It's extraneous. It has to go. So here's where the dilemma comes in, okay? I know what this car is made of. I know what's under the paint, okay? I don't think it's worth very much. I honestly don't. Kathy Bananas, on the other hand, keeps showing me similar cars on my, don't laugh. She keeps showing me similar cars that are on, Marketplace and Craigslist and Hemmings or whatever she finds these things. that are like, $75,000, and they have meteor holes in the roof. Okay, you get the idea. So this is like a domestic thing going back and forth. I'm like, Kat, just get rid of it. I don't care what we get for it. She's like, it's worth a fortune. So don't laugh, it's true.
I don't.
So at this point, it's like, you know what? Let's just let the viewers decide. You guys determine what the value is on this thing. And here's what we're going to do, okay? I'm going to give you a bumper-to-bumper tour of this car. I'm going to tell you everything that's wrong with it, everything that it needs. I'll point out the good parts, but you don't really care about the good parts. You care about the bad parts, right? If it bleeds, it leads. What we're going to do is, after a week, it's Wednesday right now, right? So we're going to let this video run for a week, and we're going to go through the comments. What I want you guys to do is tell us how much you think this thing is actually worth. What we'll do is we'll add up all of the numbers and then average them out. And whatever that average number is, that's what we're going to list it on Marketplace for. And we'll show you that whole bit too when we get to it, right? But first we have to determine its value. So, now obviously the people are going to, we're going to have troll accounts, so you sign up, it's worth zero, it's worth zero. So what we're going to do is we're going to throw out, and you keep laughing through this. I can't make a video if you keep laughing.
I'm sorry.
Kathy Bananas. Banana sauce. Some people call it banana sauce too.
Don't.
So we're going to throw out all of the numbers under 1,000, because I think 1,000 is a fair floor for this car. I mean, so you know, it's got good small ball pattern rallies on it. It's got enough odds and ends that if you depart this thing out, you get $8,000 back in an afternoon, right? So I'm going to put a floor at 1,000, and I'm going to put a lid at 10,000, because you're going to get these other people are going to pop in there. It's worth $88,000. No, well, it's not. Okay, clearly it's not. So I think that that's a pretty fair range between 1,000 and 10,000. Okay, so let the tour begin. It's a 1972 Swinger. We're going to go bumper to bumper. Okay, so let's start at the bumper. This is actually one of the nicest parts on the whole car, and I don't remember why it ended up on this car, but here it is. It's a nice bumper. The valance has, well, it's Bondo someplace. It's got some dents, and it's got some dents right here that I didn't Bondo, but the valance is just a valance. The grill, I know it's a 72 car, but it has a 71 grill, because I don't like the 72 grill. It looks like a nice grill, right? But it's not. There's none of the supports behind it that are supposed to be there are there. Now, well, here you can see it just moves around, it just flops around pretty easily. I know it looks flimsy, and it is flimsy, but it's been in place for like 11 years and probably close to 100,000 miles by this point, and it's just fine. But it's the 71 grill. The hood, it's denty and wavy, which is why I threw it on this car, because it was denty and wavy and I couldn't sell it. These scoops, both of them were cracked, and I think a couple of them have stripped holes on the bottom. I don't really recall. I bonded over the cracks. This crack over here is starting to come back. But that's the story with the scoops. They were just not nice enough to sell. I'll get to under the hood in a minute. This fender is all Bondo. The whole thing is Bondo, from one end to the other. Now, it has no rust that I remember. This is all solid. But we had an accident with this car at one point. We got hit by a truck, and the truck creamed this door and this fender. So this fender, all Bondo. The whole thing is Bondo. The body line is sculpted out of Bondo. Okay, the door is literally sculpted out of Bondo. So you know, it looks decent, but it's not. It's a real turd. And over here we've got I don't even know what the hell's going on here. This is just testimony to my bodywork skills. It's yeah, okay. So the fender and the door are toast. This quarter is all Bondo. The whole thing is Bondo, and again we've got the body line kind of sculpted into it. But there's no rust in it. It's a solid piece, but like wavy and denty and twisty and everything else. Okay. One of the things that made me say I got to get rid of this car is that the seam over here started to blister out. So I chipped out the Bondo. This needs to be dressed down, and I was like, you know, I just do not have the will or the ambition to fix this. And you see here, it's starting to come apart over here. But we've got the same thing happening on the other side. This came out, this broke out probably about 6 months ago or so. So like I said, I just ground off the broken Bondo, and I don't even care enough about this car to hit it with primer. So that's where we are with that thing. Other side, same deal, okay? So that's this side of the car. The roof is actually really nice. Solid, good roof. I don't recall any body work on the roof, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. Back here, the Dutchman panel is good. The rear window trim is decent. The trunk lid, if I remember correctly, is okay. The back bumper is straight, but it's got peeling, you know, chrome on it, and you know, I just don't care. So that's for you to deal with. And the rear valance is like the same as the front. The rear valance it was denty and had Bondo and stuff in it, but I mean, it's okay. It's not rotted or anything. This side of the car, this quarter panel is all Bondo. The whole thing, front to back, is Bondo, and just wavy. Okay, but it's solid. I don't believe there was ever any rust back here at all. Solid but wavy. This door, if I remember correctly, is actually good. I don't think there's anything wrong with this door. It might be rotted. Oh, let's see. Blue door. No, this good door. It's got a good door. Okay, and oh, and this fender, I believe, is also good. So that's the tour of the overall tour of the body. I think, if I remember correctly, there's some Bondo someplace in the cowl here, but there was no rot. All right, so let's go under the hood. So right away, you notice we have some peeling Rust-Oleum. This was just a quickie job we did. Now remember, this was never supposed to be a show car. It was never supposed to be something that we were going to sell. This was just leftover parts we were going to put together and just use it out in the street and leave it in parking lots and not care if it gets hit by things, and it has been hit by things like trucks. But that was the intent behind this car. It's not supposed to be a valuable collector's item. It's a pile of parts. Okay, so front to back here. Original style radiator, but it works. The car has no issues overheating. The inners are good. The inners are nice and solid. So are the front frame rails. So is the K-frame. So all of that's really good. It's got power steering. Power steering works. Now this engine, when we refreshed this car for the Perfect Daily Driver series that we did, we wanted something that was daily drivable, perfect, like in traffic, nice and powerful. 318 would have been fine for that. But we also wanted something that would be like highway worthy, modern highway worthy, that could cruise 70, 80 miles an hour uphill with the air conditioning on, towing a trail if we had to, and get really good gas mileage. So torque was the name of the game. And this is a mix match of parts that we put together specifically to make torque. The short block is a 1989 roller cam 360, okay, and it's stock. I think we just refreshed it. It was like, rings and bearings, out in gaskets, that sort of stuff. So that's the bottom end of the motor. The cylinder heads are 318s, just regular. I think they were on the 318 that was in here previously, but they're just regular 318 cylinder heads. The intake manifold is an SP2P, which is the ultimate anti-performance intake manifold. It has these tiny, tiny little runners. And the purpose of this was to create torque, off idle and mid-range bottom end torque. This is not a performance intake manifold, but it's an Edelbrock SP2P manifold. Actually, this was from the fuel crisis era, back in the early 70s. And that's what this manifold came from. And for the purpose, it works perfectly, but it hits a brick wall at like 5,000 RPM. Like, this thing will not pull anywhere near past there. But let's say at between like 2 and 4,000 RPM, it's magic. It's just magic. It's perfect. It's got an Edelbrock 600 carburetor on it. I don't remember what this air cleaner came from. It's irrelevant. Stock exhaust manifolds with a goofy exhaust, and I'll tell you about the exhaust when we get to it. Now, this engine actually has a defect. that I'll tell you about that you would never in a zillion years know existed. So when I put this together, I don't know if you guys are aware or not, but a roller cam small block Mopar uses cylinder heads that have a larger push rod hole, right? So in other words, like, you know, the hole in the head that the push rod passes through. Roller cam engines have a larger hole than flat tappet engines. Well, I mean, I knew this going in, and I opened up the holes, the push rod holes in the cylinder heads to what I thought would be large enough. But when I went to put this engine together, I found that it wasn't, that several of the push rods were rubbing against the holes. There's a problem, right? Not really. So I needed to get this car back together again quickly because we needed to use it. I put it together, I fired it up, and I found that the push rods were doing all kinds of crazy stuff. So I says, you know what, I don't have the time to do this right now because I have to take the cylinder heads back off and open up those holes more. But since it's a roller cam and the rollers don't rotate, if they do, you got a lot of trouble. The rollers don't rotate, the push rods don't rotate either. So I'll just grind some reliefs into the push rods and drive this thing for a week or two until I can take the heads back off and open up those holes. I never got around to it. Why? Because I didn't care to. Yeah, it was working, it was functional. So if you were to take this motor apart right now, you would find that, I don't even remember how many, it was a long time ago, half or more of the push rods have grind marks in them to clear the holes in the heads. It's been like that for about 30,000 miles, at least 30,000 miles, 4 years. It's never given me a lick of trouble, and I've just left it. I actually forgot about it until I decided to make this video, and I'm going to tell you guys everything that's in here. So that's what we got going under the valve covers of this thing. I'll start it up. Hang on. So like I said, it's been like that for about 30, oh by the way, the pistons are reversed on this thing. For all of you like, it's gonna knock and make all kinds of noise. No, the pistons have been backwards on this thing since day one and they're perfect. So yes, it doesn't, the good part of this is that they don't make any noise. Fix them if you want to. And the bad part is that while I haven't fixed this in the 30,000 miles, I also haven't like changed the oil or anything in that same 30,000 miles. So I don't even know how much is in there. Like, it doesn't really leak, it doesn't burn it, and I've just never changed it. So this is one of the most neglected. It's a typical like a taxi cab thing where it's just they just go and go and go. When the light turns on, the oil light turns on, you throw a couple of quarts in. I haven't had to throw any quarts in, so it doesn't leak and it doesn't burn it, but I haven't changed it. It's a maintenance nightmare. Why? I don't care. See, that's the problem. I just don't care, and that's why it's got to go. All right. The wiring is all very simple on this, and under the hood it's all factory harnesses and none of them are butchered up. They're all nice and clean. So that's that. Transmission is a 904. I haven't gone through it. It was just a good transmission, and it's been in there for the whole time that we've been using this car, and it doesn't slip. Occasionally it leaks a little bit, but I don't care enough to fix it. So transmission is good. Rear end is a 7 1/4, and we stayed with the 7 1/4 because the aim of this car was fuel mileage, drivability. I don't care about drag strip performance. I have no idea. This car's never been to a drag strip and will never go to a drag strip. So I stuck with the 7 1/4. The one thing I did do is I added a sure grip unit to it. So it has an extremely rare, hard to find 7 1/4 sure grip. And I did that because the weak link on these rear ends is the spider gears. So if you're towing or you got in a stressful situation, without a sure grip unit, it'll break a spider gear. So that's the only reason I put one in here, and it works really good. The exhaust on this car, so it's got the stock exhaust manifolds on it. The exhaust on this car was bent for a Chevy Nova. Okay, so typically the exhaust on one of these cars runs over the axle and comes along the gas tank here and exits here. This exhaust, whoever bent this exhaust up, did it for a Chevy Nova style car. And so the tailpipes go out in this way. It's really of no consequence other than it's a really oddball thing to find under the back of a Mopar. And since it's never given me any trouble, it's got a couple of exhaust leaks. You could probably hear them like a little bit as it's running. It's never given me any trouble, so I'm like, leave it alone, it's fine. Gas tank is good. The trunk floor is good. The spare tire well is good, I should say. But it does have rust holes in the drop-offs, like right here. It's got a couple of holes like this. Again, I never fixed it because I don't care enough to, but like I said, the bulk of the trunk is in good shape. It needs minor patches. All right, that was front to back, inside out. Now, oh, interior. Huh? Floors. What about them? Say it. What?
Floors? Holes?
Yeah.
Solid?
No, there's no holes in the floor.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
Fascinating.
Interesting, right?
Interesting, yeah.
Okay, so the interior on this car. The gauges don't currently work. And I don't care why, but they don't currently work. And neither does the speedometer. The lights will work. The wiper only works in the high position. Radio doesn't work. The AC is currently on the fritz. I'm just being honest, okay? I'm telling you what's going on here. It has rugs that I threw in here recently, and they're new. They're new rugs, relatively new rugs. And underneath, the floors are perfect. Like there's no rust holes or anything like that. And I don't recall there ever being any repairs to the floors. The seat is pooched, okay? The spring structure underneath it is broken out. So I didn't have a seat handy for it, and I don't really feel like going out and hunting for a seat. So I just jimmied it together. I think I used part of a fiberglass fishing rod just to give it some kind of support. But listen to me, the seat looks okay, but it's no good. The seat is junk. So unless you're going to do this whole re-engineering project, count on finding a seat bottom for it. The backs are okay. What else? Got a nice headliner.
I put that in. You
put that in, Kathy Bananas. That's how you got your name. Okay. All right, and you know, the steering wheel, I don't think the horn works. Yep, I can hear the relay, but the horn don't work. All right. So.
Package tray is pooched.
Oh, the package tray is totally pooched.
Show everybody a battery. Oh, yes. Ow.
I don't recall this car ever being washed in the last. Have you ever washed this car?
I did wash it.
All right, so
it's not washed now.
When was the last time it was washed?
Months ago. Months, like 6 months ago.
It's had like one bath the whole time that we've had it, or since I painted it. And I did a really bad job on the paint and the bodywork.
No, it was nice.
For an hour. For an hour.
Don't listen to him.
But you can, if you go to our Perfect Daily Driver series, you can see everything that we did on the car. It was a good 20-footer. It was, unless the light hit it. If the light hit it, then you know what I mean? So, there's the car. And I want this frickin' thing gone. Like, gone. And Kathy's like, but it's our car. I'm like, no.
I'm over
it. You want it gone too? You're over it too?
I can't put the dogs in there, so.
We can't put the dogs in there. See, that's the big thing.
That's a big thing.
When I did this car and some of the others that we've gotten rid of, we weren't into the XJ thing. Then all of a sudden I discovered XJs, and now I've got a bunch of XJs, and the XJs take care of all of the roles that these daily driver cars are going to take. Now, I'm absolutely not selling either of the Roadrunners, the 67 Charger. Either of the Roadrunners, the 67 Charger, Bottle Rocket is forever staying, Slag Hammer is forever staying. The Belvedere I may get rid of after it's done. And Mrs. Landy, because she's just too pathetic. Nobody could ever love that car except us. So we're keeping the important cars, and the extraneous ones or the redundant ones, the daily driver ones, they're going. So there it is, guys. Here, let's go in here so my neighbor can.
Pull in.
Yeah, he has no idea I do YouTube.
He does.
Does he? Did I get the direct connection license plate?
Oh, did I get that too?
Yeah.
We get that as well? Are you going to take him for a ride in it, or?
No.
You should probably.
No, no. Oh, look, I put a new alternator in here. I forgot about that.
It has a horn. Does the AC work?
It has a
No.
horn, but it doesn't work.
The AC doesn't work.
The AC doesn't work, but it's the. This was a an Amazon expansion valve. And
You
something
tried.
happened with it. I don't remember exactly. Oh, this
It's
piece
from
here broke
Amazon.
off. Right. So this piece broke off. And so yeah, that's what happens with Amazon expansion valves.
Yeah.
So yeah, this tube broke off. To make the AC work, you'd have to change the expansion valve again and give it a charge. But it did work the last time we used it.
And all the AC stuff is there.
All the AC stuff is there. So
No ride? No ride?
no, they don't need a ride. They don't need a ride.
I have to say, I drive this a lot,
Yes,
and it's a really
Yeah.
driving, it gets me wherever I've got to go.
it's reliable,
It's
right?
very reliable.
It
I can
goes,
even
it stops.
start it. Yeah, it starts when I want it to.
Yeah, I want it gone. Please, I just want this frickin' car gone.
I know.
All right, so listen to the sound when I close the hood. Ready? Listen. Okay.
What does that mean?
I don't even know. I don't even know. Now I need you guys. Tell us what you think this is worth. We're going to throw out all of the numbers under $1,000, all of the numbers over $10,000. And whatever that average number is from you guys, that's what we're going to advertise this car on Marketplace for. And we'll take you through all of that too, because I'm sure there's going to be some interesting characters come up with this. There always
Do you
is.
think?
I hate selling stuff. I love selling parts. I sell parts all day long because a part is a simple thing. I
Very
despise
straightforward.
selling cars. I would rather just give the damn thing away than go through the agita of selling it. But
Yeah.
since I've taken you through this car and showed you everything, bumper to bumper, top to bottom, inside and out, you know what it's here? I'm okay with it. We'll sell it.
But we did sell the Duster, and that person is very happy.
He's thrilled.
He's thrilled.
He got a
He's
screaming
very
deal on it.
happy. Yeah.
Yeah. So, in the comments, what's it worth? And we'll add them up, average them out, and that's what we'll list it for. Go to it, guys. Thanks. Save the domestic bliss or whatever.
Save the domestic.
Yeah,
ones.
save our domestic bliss.
Oh, wow.
All right. Isn't that nice?
Very sweet.
Do you see how thoughtful I am?
Very thoughtful.
Yeah. Okay, guys. That's it. See you tomorrow.
Bye.